right?
What's that?
You said that except for the south where the buttons are, but the buttons aren't part of the south. The buttons are just naturally on the bottom.
Are lines 21 through 25 in the south frame, or are they part of the main frame?
No, the buttons when you're programmed, they're still, if you were to visually look at where they're being just coming through, and as far as the stream, it's coming down here. We're just, by nature, translating them up to here at this location, or to the left. As I said, they're over here at the left. They're just suppressed. And if you so chose, you could have them over here and up there at the same time too. Or you could get rid of them altogether and make your own set in the north region if you wanted some really nice, pretty low colored ones and stuff like that.
And you can still show non-buttons on lines 21 through 25 if you want. I can't put a data entry field on line 23, but I could show more data on line 23 if I wanted to.
You could do show statements down here as long as they don't have a button. If they have a button, they automatically go. But this line is the break line. So if you define a button anywhere above this line, it stays in place.
Like they did yesterday. We had like an empty area and they created buttons in the middle of the screen in that top area.
Yeah, except his buttons were a little different. He was using it embedded. And then he would put them there using something similar to this here. He would trigger the event.
Is that how you talk from an embedded HTML back is with the same virtual key?
Yeah. This virtual field is, let's put it this way, he's doing something a little unique, but there's problems with it, and so this virtual field it's fixed, and this works a lot better. So I'm not even going to tell you about the other way. It's in.
It was before the virtual.
It was before this came out, so it's an unintended feature that nobody's going to see unless you happen to run on it.
But if I have an HTML window in GI
That's what
now,
you would do.
right? It's a scrollable list, and I want to make things in that clickable.
Yep.
I can do that.
As long as it's getting that sequence of string in the href, it's going to act on it.
In this, it would
Yep.
not act on it in GI's data.
Question for you. So if I'm in the customer name field,
Mhm.
and normally, let's say I enter and I go down to the billing address and it's blank, I might have something flash at the bottom that says, if blank, show, please fill in billing address.
Mhm.
But that's not going to work here.
Sure.
is it?
Well, it doesn't flash because we don't. I mean,
It's fixed
It's
HTML.
flat.
There's no way for you to know that, right?
well, if it's not in a button format, it still shows up down here, whatever you have.
It refreshes it.
It refreshes it on each field?
Yeah, it does the same thing that you've always
So a
done.
new piece of HTML is coming through each time? Okay.
If you did it when leaving field,
Yeah.
that if you did it when entering field, that popped up these
Yeah,
are your
just go enter
choices.
through, let me see if anything shows up, in case you
Well-
have anything there. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so something shows up. Okay. So you do have that. Okay, so you're refreshing the whole HTML.
And you notice, for those who want it still to display, and you can do the reverse attribute.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
That's \R.
Yeah.
It's not a button \R,
Okay.
but it's not clickable or anything.
So
It's
there's a
just
fair
text.
amount going on here because every time you move from a field, you're delivering a new HTML screen.
Exactly, but you don't have to worry about any of that. We coded that for you.
That's okay.
Part of the miracle of this, because normal web pages are stateless.
Our stateless.
They
yeah.
do not communicate back with the mothership unless you refresh the page or submit something.
They're using Ajax
You're
to
using-
constantly send stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
As one of the individuals who helped program this immensely, he said, I don't know of another thing that does this. Literally, the power of this. So you guys got something that's very powerful at your hands again.
If you're using the south region, does it cover up any of those lines that are there?
Well, that's not a south, there's no such thing as a south region. That's just an embedded area that he did. He put his embedded, when you do an embedded, you tell row and column, and it honors it as though row and column, as far as in your thinking of filePro's row and column the best as we can. As such, he was taking and saying row 20, field 1 or something like that, and then over 80 characters.
He made his own field.
So that's an embedded frame or embedded, just an embedded area, and then he populated that with the document. And since it's bigger, since it was bigger than the window that was provided, the area to display, you saw the scrollable bar.
Show the screenshot.
So there's a north,
So we only have a north region for you to fill in. Much like that east region, it says north URL, and you give it a size, and it'll allocate that much space on the top. And that top is above these buttons. And then you have the east region. And just much like the other one, you have a north URL to populate that with whatever you want it to.
and then you have your west URL.
There is nothing over here but the menus. Those are just naturally there. So you don't have that control.
That's
over it.
just menus, you can't put HTML over
You
there.
can't put anything over there.
Hey,
That's
Chris.
menus.
Chris, on the buttons, tell them about the filePro buttons. The normal.
That they're already there?
Yeah, well, the way you placed them. We put,
Up here?
yeah,
This order is by the order that they show up on the lines. So if you're from the top line, the second line, or the second line and third line, they're going in or sequential from left to right going down. So notice filePro's default buttons are here at the end.
So what threw me, there's no south region, but what you're doing is you're using an
I'm overlaying.
embedded HTML again
Right.
on the bottom 4 lines.
Otherwise, it's blue space because my buttons are up, or in this case, purple space because I'm up above.
Which, of course, then your show statements wouldn't appear because you've overlaid it with the embedded one.
but on the buttons, because you got unique buttons for different screens you're looking at, we tried to keep the filePro, hard copy, browse, escape, and so forth across in the sequence, so people aren't looking one time, well, they're on the right side or on the left side or in the middle or wherever. They'll always fall in,
But in the order you showed
in
them,
the,
though.
right there above.
So this order is the order that they're in, but the default ones are always there unless you suppress them with the whatever.
The dash DE.
Dash D, dash D. or
So
I
you got
forget what
trash
the last
can for
one.
delete, you got printer.
Right. So they're there, but you can suppress them.
Because we've done the dash DE.
Printer is
and-
the hard copy or forms? The printer is hard copy.
Here's an example that I just did for you to show of its power. These are all embedded, every single one of these. And here we go. This is just a Wack Spyder. So it's telling me my hits and my misses after I go. Those are all at VF type of a thing request, and when you click it, it just moves on to somewhere else from a random spot. So that's not that much code, but it shows you we have 20 embedded locations in this particular one. If you count them, there's 5 and 4. Those are all embedded. So just
20 different little HTML files.
20 little HTML files.
All with the send VF.
All have a SendDF related to it. As you notice, if you look down here on the browser at the bottom, it's showing you its link right there. It says SendDF H19 hid.jpg or PNG. So that's what it's sending the next time. It's just telling it what image to display there, and I just swap them. But it gives you an idea of what that can do with the embedded.
Did you have to put the time thing on all of your HTML calls?
Yeah,
The same thing?
those all have the time, otherwise they might not refresh. But this is the kind of stress testing I give it.
I was gonna say, that was a late Saturday night.
And these are the things that Logan goes, "Why'd you do that?"
Are you publishing this with FPWeb?
I don't care. I can put it out there. You want to see the code? It's not really that big.
Interesting.
Well, we were replace the Spyder with a symbol for a programmer, and we could put it there for all our clients.
There you go. Maybe a picture of Ernie in there.
Yeah, here, this is the code for that, and there's what, I tried to do some other stuff, I didn't do it. 72 lines, not much for that many to handle all the random stuff, and there's other stuff in here that's not even pertinent to it.
You can turn that into a match game real easily too.
Yeah. So it's just an example of the power that embed can do, and it does take it down, brings it up. Now, in this particular one, I did tell you that, you know, hey, I used, you got the other format? I'm using the .GUI format of the command here. We have these in a table, and I went in the documentation when I showed you both the .GUI format and the message send format, and this one uses the .GUI one. And actually, I didn't do it on the rest of them, I just did it on that, closing it. So, anyways, so kind of see the power of the embedded frame.
Some of this to help you guys get up on and going on it, we could give you the some of the source rather than documentation and say, okay, you want to do this, here's from here to here, this is what you do, all you got to just copy it in, away you go. That makes sense?
It's like a framework.
Yeah, I'll just get,
Makes sense, yeah.
that's what they are, is just sample little cuts, and then you can just say, hey, you want this to do this, here's what it's doing, now, you
If you want
change
to
the
go beyond
parameters,
this,
you know, you can make it fit yours.
If you want to go beyond, get your HTML5.
But that would be quicker than trying to read us write the
I
documentation.
do my best to put them in calls that, and then reference the call. One of the things in the future I've asked to try to get done is a way for us to make them as functions or calls that pass parameters, that I don't have to worry anymore about if I gave you a piece of code that you might use those variables, but yet you could still call it. To me, that would be very powerful, because I wouldn't have to worry about, oh, I gave this guy a routine, and now I got, oh, shoot, he's using those values. in
Well,
his
if you
code.
declare local and use all declared variables.
Yeah, but to pass them back and forth, just more like a, here's a flag, that's the thing I've been asking, or looking for.
By the way, your @TM thing is a creative way to do that. It might be worth looking at building that in, either as it just does it behind the scenes all the time, so people, it's a hassle to have to remember to add that to every line, or maybe an environment variable that says append this, and you set that variable and then you don't have to worry about it, just a thought.
Yeah. Okay.
We had the same problem just with normal HTML. We would create an HTML with JS files or the HTML command, and we found we had to load it twice sometimes, you know, to make sure that it truly loaded, because it's caching. The issue is the browser, if it doesn't think the file has changed, even though you've asked it to load it, it says, I don't really need to load it because I don't think it's changed. And it's the browser's fault. You got to spoof the browser to do it.
Okay, is there any other questions on buttons or virtual field? If not, why don't we take a break and then we can go on to another thing.